So welcome Gayle from Music Heroes. Thank you for joining us today for an audience with session. Really great to be here. And I thought it'd just be good just to start off by telling us a bit about Music Heroes and your role within the business.
Okay, so Music Heroes began around 6 years ago. I actually at the time was a practicing solicitor, but two small children and wanted a change of direction and a business that was my own. I decided to focus on my piano tuition, which I'd actually been doing a little bit of on the side anyway. I've always been a musician, but it had always been my hobby, my passion rather than my work. I converted my garage and advertised, and very quickly had 20 odd students that were coming to me for their lessons every week. And it got so busy that I was able to leave the law, and Music Heroes was born. I detected pretty quickly that there was a need for a more contemporary rock pop focused tuition. I was actually a classically trained pianist, but actually the Beatles and Madonna was what I was into.
Yeah.
And I had lots of students coming to me saying, oh, can I learn how to play this Ed Sheeran track or this Adele track? And I could see that there was something missing. You know, the teachers around me that I knew of weren't offering that, and that's what kids were asking for. And I thought, well, absolutely, if that's what they want to play, that's what keeps them coming for lessons every week, then that's what we should do. So it was a bit of a learning curve for me. Chords and playing pop songs was never something that I was taught to do, but my students were loving it. I had lots of parents saying to me, I wish you came into my kids' school. You know, what they're offering is a bit old-fashioned, it's all classical, it's all about grades. So I teamed up with a guitarist that I knew and said, how do you fancy approaching a few schools with me and see if we can get a bit of a peripatetic service going? And that was it. We did a couple of demos in some local primary schools, and it took off from there. We very quickly had sort of 5 or 6 local primary schools on our books. That was, as I say, 6 years ago, and we've now got 18 schools on our books. We have just shy of 600 students across the county, and I have a team of 10 tutors, and we don't just do piano and guitar anymore, it's drums, piano, keyboards, vocals, bass, ukulele, the main rock and pop instruments.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a bit about how RSL Awards fits into the business and why the relationship is important to you. Okay,
so right back at the beginning when I first set up, I talked about noticing this need and desire to learn pop songs. I could see that the grades that I knew, that I was used to, were not really meeting that need. I first became aware of RSL. I attended the music and drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
And RSL were there. They had a stand, and I got chatting to the guys there, and I realised that was exactly what I was looking for. That being able to take grades, but playing songs that, you know, the Ed Sheeran, the Adele, that was perfect. And the rest is history for me, really. I bought the entire set of piano books, and I haven't looked back. And across, you know, the entire music school now, we are teaching exclusively rock school.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a bit about the music that inspired you to learn an instrument and to play, and perhaps the first song that you learned.
Okay, so my parents, massive rock and roll fans. My dad collected jukeboxes. They weren't musicians, either of them, but both, you know, lovers of music, and collected jukeboxes, and it was all about the Beatles and Elvis Presley. So one of the very first songs that I learned to play properly that I recognised as a song was Let It Be. Okay. Still my favourite song.
Brilliant choice, yeah. And then I guess the value of doing rock school exams and how your students and teachers engage with them learning each week, and how they find it helpful.
The thing that I love most about rock school exams, and not just the exams, not all students choose to take the exam, I should say, but they still choose to work from the books, is how the technical exercises are related to the pieces. When I learnt, you learn your scales, and it was rote, and I had no idea why I was doing it, what it was for, other than to get me through my next exam. What I like about rock schools, we've got the pentatonic scales in this, so we're relating that to the pop
Absolutely.
music, and we're, Wildest Dreams is a great one, grade 2. You can hear that pentatonic scale, and you're learning that in your exam as well, to pass your exam, but you can also hear it in the piece, and to have that understanding of why we're doing it. Scales are not just this thing that you have to do. I think that's absolutely brilliant, and that's where rock school are different to the other exam boards, I think.
Brilliant. And I guess how your students adopted the RSL classical syllabus, so I think you mentioned you do piano,
Yes.
and so how they enjoy their classical piano.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, when that was launched, I was really, really excited. I'm a classical pianist, really, and whilst most of what I do now is rock and pop, I was really excited about that syllabus, and my students love it too. The good thing about it is that these are classical pieces that most of us know. Frozen 2 is at the grade 1 syllabus. That was just a stroke of genius, I think. All of my little classical pianists choose that, and they absolutely love it. I mean, being able to make classical music relevant to young people was a really clever step on the rock school's part.
I think it also inspires them to practice more, so they can really relate to the music.
Well, that runs through all of the rock school pieces. If you know the piece, if you like it, if you enjoy it, you're going to practice it more, and in the end you get a better result. Yeah,
definitely. And maybe how do your teachers and students engage with the syllabus? So I guess ahead of September delivery, do they look at the materials ahead of that and plan out their lessons for the term?
They do. So we have John Harvey, who's head of drums, Dave, head of guitar. So we all have access digitally to all of the rock school syllabus. A lot of what we do is primary school, so we've got a lot of debut, grade 1, grade 2, and we know those books inside out right now. But the children love them, and all my tutors love them as well. It really does provide that structure for us. Having the pieces that we're working on, the technical exercises that they're related to, and we try and always do a little bit of listening and musicianship within the lesson as well. It really does provide the structure for our lessons. And the other thing that we do a lot of is whole class tuition as well. I do a lot of whole class ukulele, and again, I'm using the ukulele syllabus for that too.
Excellent. Brilliant. And how do you encourage students to practice within sort of in between lessons, and I guess over the school holidays as well?
It's a very good question. Encouraging practice. Largely, I think that the desire to practice is there with the student, particularly if they're enjoying the pieces that they're playing, and that again is something that rock school are aware of when they're selecting these pieces. We have lots of parents asking us about how do I get them to practice. I don't think anybody really knows the answer to that. But the enjoyment has to be there, and I think if they're enjoying their lesson with us, they're enjoying the pieces that they're learning, then the practice just comes on its own.
Yeah.
And we always say to our students, 5 minutes every day is, especially when they're very little, doing their debut in grade 1, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
And everybody's got that 5 minutes. If you've got 5 minutes to play a computer game or whatever it happens to be, you've got 5 minutes to play the piano. But that will build over time.
Yeah, I think it's sort of timetable it into their day within sort of school homework, after school,
exactly.
On the weekends as well.
Yeah, there's always Brian as well.
And obviously Music Heroes are a champion centre, which is great status, which we're really pleased about having a relationship with Music Heroes. And obviously you're a private exam centre as well for rock schools, so we send an examiner to your venue.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit about that, and what do you like particularly about how they're organised within that?
That's been a huge advantage to us, having our own exam days. First of all, flexibility. We choose the day, we choose the venue. We're very lucky to have one of the schools, secondary schools that we teach in. They're very happy for us to use their building, so of course their music department is all set up for us. For our students, it means they don't have to travel too far. It's actually otherwise the nearest exam centre is not that local to us. We cover a really wide area here in Shropshire. We've got students in Mid Wales and Telford, so being able to have an exam day that's central to all of those students, and for a lot of those students it's going to a place that they know as well. And we always make sure there's a Music Heroes face there, and that's another advantage of having your own private day. You can be there and greet them, and that, I think that means a lot, seeing a familiar, smiling face. But they've been a huge success.
Brilliant. And I guess how you coordinate the day and how do you prepare the venue? What do you ask students to bring to their exam? If you're a sort of steward or a team here that helps do that.
Yeah, so I'm our exams coordinator. So it's an ongoing project now, actually. As soon as one exam day ends, we're thinking about the next one. We hold one in every exam period. And I'm constantly emailing all my tutors saying, please be thinking about who you want to enter for the next exam day. And I keep a schedule of that, and as soon as I have a list of names of my students, I'm emailing the parents of those students to say that you've been put forward for a rock school exam, giving them the details of where and when, and then they're building. The nice thing about having our own days that we have control over that as well, that the timetable, I'm in communication with rock school, with your guy, Lucian, and we're in touch about who's going when, so we can put siblings together.
Absolutely.
And particular students have requests for a particular time of the day, we can do that. So in terms of what they bring to their exam, I must say it at least 5 times. Bring your book, bring your instruments. If you're playing guitar, bring your sticks.
Yeah, brilliant. And I guess leading up to the exam day as well, how do you sort of prepare and deal with nerves? Obviously, at that point, do you run sort of mock exams and lessons as well?
We do. We always try and do a complete run through of what the exam would be like. I like to talk my students through in as much detail as possible. This is what the building will be like. This is who you're going to see when you arrive. I will walk you, or whoever's the music hearers will be there, will walk you to the exam, so that they have as much detail about it as they possibly can. In terms of nerves, every student is different. We do get some that really get themselves tied up in knots about it. And I find it very helpful to give them some experience of playing to someone different, someone that's not me. So calling in another music hearers tutor and saying, will you just listen to this student play this piece, and I think that gives them a bit of a boost, knowing that they can do it. And I have to say, they all come out with big smiles on their faces. It's nearly always a very positive experience for them.
Brilliant. And have you ever considered, or any of the students done any digital exams, so recorded digital or live streamed?
Yeah, I mean that's been a brilliant addition, and something I suspect isn't going very far, even post-COVID. It meant during COVID times that lots of our students could do the exam that they had been working for. Even now, students have commitments, they can't make our private exam day, and perhaps the next exam day is too far away. We just did the video exam, and our students and parents of students absolutely love that as an option.
Brilliant. And then finally, a couple of last questions. Maybe a bit about your concerts that you run. Andy, I know RSL Awards came on to that one recently, obviously again this year. So maybe a bit about the build up to that and how it's a great performance opportunity for your students to get up there in front of a live audience with their parents and the audience as well. Yeah,
so last year was the first time we'd held a student concert. Had a fantastic venue. Had about 35 students perform. Packed out this a nightclub venue in Shrewsbury, and it was a huge success. Students aged 6 to 18 performing for most of them on stage live for the very first time. We had awards as well, so we'd run a competition throughout the summer, and those students who'd entered all got to perform. It was brilliant, and we as a band, the Music Heroes band, we got to play as well, which of course we don't get to do very often. So we are now planning our second concert, different venue this year, but a really exciting venue. Going to be even bigger and even better this year. More performances, more from the Music Heroes band, and some awards again as well.
Excellent, brilliant. And finally, what's next for Music Heroes?
What's next? More schools.
Yeah, of course.
That's always growing and extending the area that we cover as well. We've got new schools joining us this year. There's obviously some changes ahead, and the National Plan for Music Education is looking good for us. Music's going to be hopefully becoming more and more important in schools, and instrument tuition recognised as something that's really important and to be having in schools. So we're hoping that that's going to present lots more opportunities to us, and also lots more opportunity for children to be involved in live performance. That's a bit of a theme through the plan, and children experiencing live performances as well. So exciting times, I think.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Gayle, today. That's excellent just to see you, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.